Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate, or I go by AlwaysMoreSims here on YouTube, and today we are doing a speed build. This house is called Starlight Sanctuary. I really debated actually using the word Starlight because the world that it's going to be placed in is Starlight Shores. I did not build it in Starlight Shores because unfortunately my save is like ridiculously laggy, at least the last time I had the save open, so I didn't want to test my patience or my luck by trying to build the lot in Starlight Shores, but it does have me a little concerned trying to place the lot in Starlight Shores because there was still some lag at some points as I got towards the end of building the house. But yeah, so this house is for my Sims 3 Feig challenge. I actually there's a part going up like Monday, like actually for this upcoming week. I'm really going to start talking a lot about, like, I really wish I had a house for us to move into. I'm building this after recording those, okay? But it really had me in the mood to want to build, because today was actually supposed to be a current household video, but I haven't had time to play my current household, especially because I unfortunately signed myself up for this to be pretty big current household because I moved us into this monstrous house, this huge house, and so I was like, oh well, this just means I have to have a big family, and like that just means that it takes more time to play, and I just haven't had that time. So I was like, well, I'm only one kid in, and I'm in the mood to build, so you know what? We're gonna swap. I normally try to go like back and forth. Like I'll do a speed build and then I'll do a current household and then I'll do a speed build and then I do a current household. And the thing is, unfortunately, I'm not normally in the mood to build. Like every once in a while I'll be like, yeah, I could build. I could build. But not usually to the point I was like knowing that I needed this house and not having it. I will say the lot that I wanted to place this house on, I had in my head that it was a 40 by 40 lot. Okay, so I built the lot on a 40 by 40 lot. So then I go to place it in Starlight Shores, and the lot that I wanted was actually 40 by 38. And so then I was like, I'll just get rid of the 40 by 38 lot, no biggie, and I'll just replace it with a 40 by 40 lot. Well, the 40 by 40 lot doesn't fit, and so I can't. And you can't place like custom sized lots, like something that's like 40 by 38. Like there's only so many like preset options of lot sizes you can place. And yeah, that was my wrist, by the way, if you heard that pop. I was really upset because I'm like, this is the lot I wanted to put it on though. So it's kind of like a cliffside, like view of the ocean. I thought it was really nice. I feel like it really fit with the vibe of the house. Nope. Not happening. So, anyways, this house is technically 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. However, the biggest bedroom is actually going to be for our music instruments. So if you're familiar with my Feig challenge, Feig stands for every generation. Oh, my phone is going off. Okay, sorry. So Feig stands for every generation there's a genre. And each generation, as the title of the challenge suggests, each generation is based on a different genre of book, and our current generation is based on music books, which I still don't know that I necessarily see that as a genre of book. You know, like music books or like instructional manuals, like, or instruction manuals. Like, I'm surely they need to go into some kind of category. But when I think, you know, and someone asks me, what's your favorite genre of book? That's not what I think of. Anyways, we're doing it anyways. So our heir, her name is Eliza, and I've already kind of like mapped out how I want Eliza's life to go, like her generation. So she's going to be a rock star. I might even be a rock star. Channel her inner Hannah Montana. Yeah, I don't know what that was. No, she's very dedicated to her music, and like that is basically what she exists for, is her music and her instruments and her job and becoming, you know, this big pop star, and like everything else just kind of falls to the wayside, is just kind of second place to her. She has to marry a band member, which she did. No, she's not married a band member. I'm sorry. She's trying to date a band member. I don't think he will stay a band member. And I didn't put him in the music career, okay? That was entirely story progression. I did not put him into the band career, but he has the virtuoso trait, so like it makes sense. But his lifetime wish is to be like a master mixologist or something, and so I think I might put him in the culinary career. Anyways. Like Eliza still wants to have a relationship. She still, you know, wants to find love, but that is not her first priority. And having a family is not necessarily her priority either. Like her music, her job is like top priority, first place. And so because of that, when we eventually have a kid, because we can only have one kid this generation, so when we eventually have a kid, like the kid is going to be completely under the dad's, like, care. Like, she's going to have hardly anything to do with the kid. She's going to be a pretty bad parent. Like, pretty negligent. But again, like, the dad, will be heavily involved, will, you know, be the main caretaker of the child and all this stuff, because again, all of Eliza's focus is going to be on her job. So I thought when I was, you know, sizing the bedrooms, that I was like, I totally feel like Eliza would give the biggest room to her instruments. She would take the middle-sized room for herself, and then she'd leave the smallest room for her kid. And so that's what happened. That's what we did. The music room is massive, I feel like. I don't even know how I really want to fill the music room, because I did not furnish either of the bedrooms. The music room, I was just going to bring whatever we had currently and just kind of like update the master bedroom as needed, because the house did get quite expensive. I felt like Eliza would be the kind to have like a really nice home with like the really nice stuff. I just am a little concerned that we'll be able to afford the house, just straight out the gate. So yeah, I was like, I'll just bring what we have for the bedroom and for the music room, and then we'll just kind of update as we can. Yeah, this house, like, I'm actually really proud of the house, which is kind of odd because I'll be honest, I don't really love how the front of the house turned out. I think the front of the house is kind of bland. Like, I just wasn't quite sure what to do. My phone keeps going off. Like, I was tempted to add, like, more roofing. I hate roofs. I think that's just, like, a common, like, if you build in The Sims, you hate the roofs, okay? You just hate the roofs. The roofing anything sucks. And so I was like, oh, I don't really want to mess with the roofs. I don't want to make it look worse. But I do feel like the front of the house is kind of on the bland side. I don't know. But, like, I feel like the back of the house, like, the back patio area, like, that we're working on right now, I feel like that is super fun. I really like how the driveway looked, like, the landscaping, stuff like that. Like, I was pretty proud of how all that turned out. I just can also admit that the house looks really bland from the front. The backyard is a lot more interesting, though. We have a whole back grill, we have fire pit, we have a pool, we have, I don't think I've put it in yet, we'll have a hot tub, there'll be, like, a kids play area, and yeah, I will say, I normally try to restrict what packs or, like, store content, like, I try not to use stuff packs, I try not to use, like, every expansion pack under the sun, and I refrain from using any store content or custom content if I can in my typical builds, but when I'm building with the intention of it being a house that I'm going to play in for my Sims, I do not worry about constricting myself in that way. So, like, this house has a lot of outdoor living and town life stuff, which are two of the most recent stuff packs that I've actually gotten for this game. I kind of forgot that stuff packs for The Sims 3 existed, so, like, in the past year, I've gotten both of these stuff packs just when they've been on sale, and I haven't really gotten to use them because when I do build, most times it's not for me, it's just kind of building just to build, and again, I don't want to use a bunch of extra content that I feel like most simmers don't have, so I normally try to limit myself. I did not in this house. I didn't use a whole lot of store content, just a couple of, like, decoration pieces here and there, and then I did use my beloved 3-tile custom content garage doors, but I mean, other than that, I will say I feel like the main living space is kind of empty. I found it really difficult to fully fill, especially because I feel like the living room area here, I ended up having to kind of, like, spread the furniture out because when I zoom back, when, like, you zoom out, you realize how much space is still left, and just, like, seeing how small of a corner I've just decorated, like, I literally laughed out loud. I was like, this looks stupid. It's just this one little corner that I've decorated, and I'm like, oh, I have so much more room. Like, I need to figure this out. I also really wanted a sectional couch, but it cost me the use of actually one of the seats on the couch because I put the ottoman in it to make it look like a sectional. So just so you know, that doesn't function. And yeah, so then I did go in after I stopped recording and I actually added the bakery station, so where you can make, like, all the different cookies and pies and cobblers and stuff like that. I did add that back in because, again, like, if I end up making my Sims partner, like, putting him into the culinary career, he will need the cooking skill. And I just, like, I haven't played with the bakery station in a while, and I really like it. It's really fun. The reason I typically don't is that it's not food you can put into the, it's not a blender. The food mixer thing, I'm blanking on what that's called. But, like, you can't put store content food into that to puree for toddlers, which is actually one of my, like, favorite things to do. I just think it's a really cute touch when you get to, like, puree food that you've made and feed it to your toddlers. I do it pretty much all the time when I have toddlers. But I really like using it, but because I can't give it to my toddlers, I tend not to use it as much as I wish I could. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to have a culinary sim. We're only having one kid. I'm going to give us the baking station. So I don't put it in, like, while building here, but just so you know, when you go to download the house, that is a thing. And I actually think I'm going to spend the rest of the video... I'm actually surprised I've talked this long about the house itself. Well, and I talked about my challenge, but, I mean... That's not quite. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's still talking about the game. And I kind of want to actually update you guys on my job situation. Oh, we do have a bar, by the way. So if you've been watching for pretty much the last year, or so, my speed builds, then you will know that about... Okay, so a little over a year ago, last March, I was told that they were getting rid of my position. That, like, there were two of us doing pretty much the same thing, and the company had felt like it wasn't a two-person job. They didn't need both of us, and I was the one that got booted, and I was put into another position that I didn't really want, that I was actually kind of dreading, because it was super similar to what I had been doing, but the person that I was working with, like, to be completely honest, like, she and I did not really get along. Like, we didn't jive, and knowing that I was going into something extremely similar, I was going to be working with another person, and it just, honestly, it had me really nervous, because I liked the job itself. I just didn't enjoy working with this other person, and I was miserable because, like, she and I just, again, we didn't get along. The communication was not great between the two of us, and I was just terrified of, like, going into another position with another person that I might not get along with, and just feeling miserable. It was the building that they would be moving me to was on the other side of town, and I wasn't looking forward to having to completely relearn, how the building itself functions, and, where everything's located, and who I'm supposed to go to for certain things, and, like, it was a lot of new and unknown, and it, like, I was not happy about it. Well, then a different position in the building I was already working in became available, and I went ahead and interviewed for it, and I was offered this position, and so then it became kind of weighing pros and cons. Did I want to go into the position that they were already moving me into, that was exactly, like, not exactly, but super, extremely similar to what I'd already been doing, so it would have been something I was familiar with, but, risk being unhappy working with this person like I had been, in a new location with just like a whole new group of people, or would I rather be in the building I'd been in doing a job I had like no experience with, but it would have been like I would have been in my own office and I would have had like my own basically assistant, but they're not an assistant. Like I don't really know how to explain them. And I ended up taking the job that kept me in the building I was already in. And I don't think I've ever been so miserable. There've been a lot of times this past year that I have been so unbelievably depressed. I went through one of the worst depressions back towards like the end of July, beginning of August, which was when I was supposed to start this new position. Like I had really dragged my feet getting my space ready, because I don't handle change and unknown well. And like this was a big change because again, like I had absolutely no experience with what this job entailed. And it, again, like it sent me into a like massive depression, and that depression has pretty much lasted all year long. It's gotten better at times, it's gotten worse at times. Like just kind of like, typical depression. It's never the same all the time, but like there have been a lot of times this year that I've really struggled. And after Christmas, because I had some time off around Christmas, and so coming back, I met with my boss, and I basically laid all my cards out on the table, and I told her, listen, I'm extremely miserable in this position. It's something that I have a bajillion people that like to come in and tell me how to do my job, but then when I actually need help, no one will help me. I'm very unsupported. I feel very isolated. I'm miserable, and I was completely honest with her, and she was like, I fully hear you. However, like your contract doesn't end until, this upcoming summer. But there are some upcoming positions. Would you be interested? Like we have retirees coming up. Would you be interested possibly in one of their positions and one of their roles? And I was like, absolutely. I would definitely be interested. If this is a possibility, like, please let me know. I would love to interview. But if I don't get out of this position, to fill something else, when my contract is over, I will be leaving, and I will be finding something else to do. I was really considering going back into nannying. Like I was keeping my eyes open for different things that I could possibly be doing instead, and she was aware. She knew how unhappy I was, how unhappy I have been, how unhappy I still unfortunately am. Now, I will say there is good news. I was offered one of the retirees positions. However, I still have to finish out my contract. I can't start like moving until June at the earliest. So just kind of like last year, if you remember, I was kind of like, well, I was told, I could be starting the new role as early as May, as late as August. And that's kind of the same timeline I've been given again, that it could be as early as, except this time it'd be as early as June, as late as August. But I was offered one of the positions, so now I'm telling myself, I'm like, okay, Kate, you've got like 2 months, like, you can get through this, we can do this, you can, like, you're almost there, you keep pushing through, it's almost done. But, like, this past week has probably been the worst that it's been in a while. Because I'd kind of gotten to this point where things were slowly on the up and up. And I feel like this past week I am, like, sliding back down, you know, really backtracking. And, I don't know. It's really difficult knowing that something better is coming and is so close, but knowing that I still have to finish the job that I have, that I can't just mentally check out. That's not the kind of person I am, and that's not the kind of person I want to be perceived as either, because there are other people that are leaving, like just flat out leaving, and they have completely checked out. And I'm like, I'm not going to be that person. But anyways, so good news. I'm struggling, but we're gonna get there. House is linked in the description below. We are coming to the end of the screenshots. I'm sorry this is abrupt. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.